Recording in progress.
It is now 6:19 p.m. I call to order the special closed session of the City of Emeryville. The meeting is being conducted in person at 1333 Park Avenue, Emeryville, California. Please call roll.
Councilmember Mora.
Here.
Councilmember Pryforce is absent. Councilmember Welch.
Here.
Vice Mayor Solomon. Here. And Mayor Carr.
Present.
Thank you.
Are there any ex-parte communications to report, council members? Okay, seeing and hearing none, we will proceed to public comment on closed session items only. Please do. Welcome.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Madam Mayor, council members. I'm Warren Williams. I'm an Emeryville police officer for approximately 19 years, vice president of the Emeryville Police Officers Association for 10. We represent the officers and sergeants of the Emeryville Police Department. I also work as a training manager where I have training, recruitment, and community outreach responsibilities. Since September of 2025, our department has conducted approximately 67 oral board interviews, resulting in 3 recruits being sent to the academy and 1 officer returning to field training. Our current employment package retaining the officers and sergeants of the EPOA offers a salary that is approximately $27,000 to $69,000 less than Livermore, Santa Clara, San Francisco, and BART police departments. Our department recently lost a sergeant that accepted a demotion to go work for one of these departments. We are coming to you today asking that you please consider the new labor market for police officers in the Bay Area. And each of our members, we also have 3 members that have put background and started background investigations with other departments. The common denominator in each of these members' stories is they all had a baby and they all bought a home within 12 to 18 months preceding that. The one officer that left purchased a home in Alameda County. I haven't spoken to him since he left, but the underlying suggestion is that you cannot afford to raise a family and purchase a home working for the Emeryville Police Department unless you accept a demotion and go work for one of these other agencies that offers a more competitive employment package. I ask that you please accept the current market for police officers and sergeants and take it into consideration as we're going into labor negotiations. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your comment. Welcome.
Madam Mayor and Council. Lance Goodfellow, the President of the Emeryville Police Officer Association. I'd like to return to an AB 2561, the annual report. We don't believe it's an accurate report. It states that there's 34 filled positions, and 2 of those positions are not POA members. They're in the academy currently right now, and they don't become a POA member until after they graduate the police academy. It also doesn't show the officer that resigned last week, and we have 2 more that are resigning the next month. And so that takes our vacancy to a total, to the lowest numbers we've been in a long time. In July, our patrol will be 16 officers and sergeants. So that's 3 officers per team, 5 sergeants. Only 1 team will have 4 officers. And what that means is when there's 3 officers and a sergeant, when 1 officer has to transport somebody to Santa Rita jail and they're gone for hours on end, you have 1 sergeant and 2 officers patrolling the city. As you know, there's been many problems every weekend at Bay Street with juveniles. If your expectation is to stick with the staffing levels you have and to deal with the juveniles on a regular basis. Last Sunday, we had a robbery and a shooting that happened. We invite you to come on our ride-along with us. Come on the weekends. Come on a Friday and Saturday night. Come see what the city of Emeryville is like, patrolling with 1 sergeant and 2 officers. We need a competitive package. We need to retain what we have. We have people that can retire. We have 5 that can walk out the door today. If they walk out the door, we have 1 with 33 years on. If he resigns today, we're in some serious trouble for patrol. We have 1 active detective. The only other detective we have is currently on injury. We have 1 traffic officer for this whole city. And the biggest complaint that comes from this city is traffic related. We ask that you take our request seriously during negotiations And we ask that you please come see what the city is like during nighttime hours. We ask you accept our invitation for a ride along. Thank you.
Thank you. Seeing no further public comment, unless there is any, are we doing the hybrid version? Not yet? Okay. I will now close public comment and we will convene in the closed session conference room.
Recording stopped.
Good evening, everyone. It is now 7:13 p.m. City Attorney, please report out of the closed session.
Thank you, Mayor Carr. There was no reportable action taken in closed session tonight.
Thank you. 7:13 p.m. and we are adjourned for the closed session. It is 7:13 p.m. and we are starting the City Council agenda for the regular meeting of the City Council at that was scheduled for 7 p.m. Please call roll.
Councilmember Mora?
Here.
Councilmember Pryforce is absent. Councilmember Welch?
Present.
Vice Mayor Solomon?
Here.
And Mayor Carr.
Present.
Thank you.
Okay, we will move on to the special orders of the day, and this is, we will begin with a certificate of recognition for Sharon Wiltshire's contributions to the Emeryville arts community. And I see that there are a lot of members present to recognize and speak a few words for Sharon Wiltshire. First, I would like to ask Rachel Osajima if she's here. She's the Director of Alameda County Arts to make her comments.
Hello, thank you so much for this opportunity. I'm so pleased to be here and honored to celebrate Sharon Wiltshire. I am happy to say that I have this beautiful commendation from Alameda County Supervisor Nikki Fortunato-Bass that of course represents District 5, including Emeryville. And I would like to read the commendation from the supervisor.
Please, absolutely do.
Okay. Commendation to Sharon Wiltshire. In recognition of outstanding leadership in the arts of Alameda County, for more than 40 years, Sharon Wiltshire has devoted herself to advancing the arts and enriching the lives of countless community members, demonstrating an enduring commitment to cultural vitality and public service. Sharon has served on the Alameda County Public Art Advisory Committee from 1998 to 2005. She was appointed by the Alameda County Arts Commission and served as one of the founders of the Alameda County Public Art Program. Sharon has been an extremely active member of the Emeryville Artists Cooperative, serving as board president, and in 1986, when the 45th Street Artists Cooperative, Inc. was incorporated, she became its community liaison. This facility remains a cornerstone of the arts in Emeryville. Concurrently, Sharon created the Emeryville Youth and Art Program, placing artists in Emeryville schools. As the co-op's educational outreach program coordinator, Sharon has served over 1,000 youth. Sharon, as the inaugural director of the Emeryville Celebration for the Arts exhibition, which is the largest arts and culture event in Emeryville each year. This event includes hundreds of featured artists with over 3,000 people attending each exhibition. Sharon served as the chairperson of the Emeryville Public Art Committee for 31 years. She has led the effort to place and exhibit over 100 publicly owned, small and large-scale artworks in exterior and exterior spaces throughout the city, which have been viewed by all of your Emeryville community members, as well as an estimated 20,000 people who visit your city each and every day. This commendation is presented to Sharon Wiltshire on June 2nd, 2026, in recognition of her tremendous achievements that have enriched the arts, culture, and community of Emeryville and Alameda County. Signed by Nikki Fortunato-Bass, Alameda County Supervisor, District 5.
Thank you so much, Rachel, for presenting that. Sharon is not here today, but I would like to have the person who's stepping in for Sharon now and is the chair of the public arts community to please accept that on behalf of Sharon.
I would
John
love that.
Bowders, would you please step forward?
And John, before you accept it, I'd like to say a few words on behalf of myself.
Absolutely,
Okay.
please do.
Terrific. I have had the pleasure of serving in a high-level arts administrative career in the Bay Area for almost 35 years. And I've worked with Sharon over this entire time, and she has made a tremendous impact in my own life and the lives of, I know, so many, thousands of community members. So I just wanted to express my personal appreciation to Sharon. I actually started working at the Richmond Art Center in 1994 in the city of Richmond, and I met her soon thereafter. And I served, of course, as one of your jurors at one point for your annual celebration, which she took me to all of the studios. And she also, when she served on the Alameda County Public Art Advisory Committee, I was also a member at 1998. And she was one of the founding members that started the program that I manage today. She was instrumental in what has become a significant program for Alameda County artists and community members throughout the whole region. The collection now has over 1,000 artworks placed in 26 county buildings and 20 outdoor locations, and her work that helped found that program is essential to the work that I do today. And I actually became the executive director of the Alameda County Arts Commission when she was still on that committee. And she served and represented you all so well in the Alameda County's city-level arts partnership network, in which we meet on a regular basis to connect with all the cities throughout Alameda County. I consider her a colleague and a friend and somebody that we all trusted and that we know and that we appreciate. So I'm honored as myself, individual and also representing Alameda County to be here today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rachel. I also have a certificate of recognition, but if you want to wait for, all right, we can have the picture moment after I read my certificate. I know that John did a proclamation for Sharon in 2022, which I'm not going to repeat, but I do have a few words before we present, as a city council, we present Sharon the certificate of recognition. We have the privilege of recognizing a remarkable individual whose contributions have helped define Emeryville's art community. Sharon Wiltshire has devoted decades of service in supporting artists, advancing public art, and strengthening the creative spirit that makes Emeryville such a special place. Through her leadership of the Public Art Committee, her work with Emeryville Artists Cooperative, and her tireless advocacy for the arts, Sharon helped build the foundation for the vibrant arts community we enjoy today. Many of the public art installations, artists' programs, and cultural traditions that residents cherish can be traced back to Sharon's vision, persistence, and commitment. Her work has enriched our public spaces, supported countless artists, and helped establish Emeryville's reputation as a center of art and innovation. Although I'm repeating much of what you have stated, Rachel, I would just like to put that out there for everyone to note again. This recognition is especially meaningful as we approach the 40th anniversary of Emeryville Celebration of the Arts later this year. Sharon played an instrumental role in the growth and success of that beloved tradition, helping it become one of the defining cultural events in our city. On behalf of the city of Emeryville and the entire Emeryville community, thank you, Sharon, for your vision and your leadership and your decades of service. Your legacy is woven throughout our city and will continue to inspire future generations. And although Sharon is unable to be with us this evening, we are grateful that John Bowders will be accepting the certificate of recognition. And we also welcome John to come forward and say a few words if you'd like.
Good evening, Mayor, council members, city staff, and members of the Emeryville community. My name is John Bowders. I'm pleased to be here at the request of Sharon Wiltshire this evening to accept these recognitions on her behalf. Sharon would like to extend her heartfelt and deep appreciation to the city council, the mayor, and the very members of the community she has known and lived and worked alongside for many years here in Emeryville for their commitment to the arts, their support of her in her work here in Emeryville. I would just add to the things that the mayor and Rachel shared. Sharon has been a mainstay figure here in the city for a long time. We are celebrating the 40th anniversary of the Celebration of the Arts, and the prior 39 of those shows are because of Sharon Wiltshire. It is because of Sharon's vision, it is because of her commitment and her tenacious pursuit of the belief that local art and local art makers are the bedrock of the Emeryville community. They bring culture and diversity to what we do here, and that it is a joyous and community-building event to have a celebration of arts. It is her consistent pursuit of that that has made this the headline event in our city for 4 decades. On behalf of the Board of Directors for the Emeryville Celebration of the Arts, a couple of whom are present here with me this evening, we are grateful to you for recognizing Sharon's contributions. They extend far beyond the art community. The limited equity housing opportunity that the cooperative is to many artists in our city is a product of Sharon's work in part. Sharon was an instrumental leader at the Park Avenue Residents Committee that helped define the Sherwin-Williams project for this community. We have named our art bus shelter program after Sharon and her vision. Sharon's fingerprints and brushstrokes are all over the culture of this community, and the people who are here behind and with me this evening are a testament to our love and appreciation for that work. And I would be remiss, Sharon would scold me if I did not also use my microphone time to let everybody know that the call to entries is open. This is a gift she gave us every year at this podium, and it is a deeply humbling honor for me to do that on her behalf. That the call to entries is open. It is open till midnight on June 30th. So for the many people in the room behind me, don't delay. Please submit your artwork. We are lucky to have Kathleen Hanna as our curator again this year, and she will be joined by 2 esteemed jurors, Donna Seeger of Donna Seeger Fine Arts and Artist Books, as well as Phil Linares, who is the former art curator for the Oakland Museum of California, will be judging this year's show. We look forward to selecting the City Selection Prize at the end of July for a purchase by you once the show is completed. We invite you all to our opening celebration night, which will be Friday, October 2nd from 6 to 9 p.m. And I am pleased to announce that as of this morning, I have secured the public market for us to hold the venue again this year. So please come out, enjoy everything about the 40th celebration, and thank you again for this honor and recognition on behalf of Sharon.
All right, I'm stepping down to provide the certificate of recognition, and please step up, Rachel, so we can have a picture moment here.
And Mayor, if you would indulge, I would actually love on behalf of Sharon to invite all her neighbors to be in this picture, if that would be okay with you.
That would be fantastic. It would be wonderful, and I would, after that is taken, you're all welcome to make a comment on behalf of that, so.
Anyone who wants to come and be in the picture, please do. She'll come down, yeah, there she is. Okay, can you stand next to me and hold that one?
I will hold that one.
Maybe you can help hold this. Squeeze in. Yeah, I gotta squeeze to make it work. Hope you have the wide lens, Pedro. Thank you, Pedro. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And if you would like to make a comment, please, you're welcome to the podium. Fran?
I'm Fran Quittel. I've never seen so many happy faces at a city council meeting, so that is the greatest. I want to just comment about how wonderful Sharon has been as a multitasker. I have never met anybody more adept at finding curators, judges, space, sponsors, donors, dance bands. And I am going to thank her personally for making me an exhibiting artist, a donor, and a volunteer bartender. Thank you.
Thank you, Fran.
Good evening. I'm Judy Wetterer with Wareham Development and a business member of the Public Art Committee since 2012. Wareham has had the privilege of working with Sharon for decades on many different artists' initiatives. Her civic activism has always been honest and studied and with only good intentions for the best outcome for Emeryville. Rich Robbins has always said that the artist community in Emeryville is as responsible for Emeryville's success as any sector in the city. And so on behalf of Rich Robbins, Jeff Sears, and myself, thank you for honoring her. Our appreciation, our admiration, our fondness for her is absolutely heartfelt. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Donna Briskin. I live at 1500 Park, and I want to underscore everything everybody said about Sharon, but I come from a slightly different perspective. I come as a resident who moved to Emeryville with an interest in art, almost because of the work Sharon had done. And early on in my agenda, moving here was to get to meet Sharon. And since then, I served on the Public Art Committee with her. I served as a volunteer and a donor for the Celebration of the Arts. I was on the Park Avenue Residents Committee that John mentioned that Sharon was an absolute critical player on, and part of our the community benefits we got was the art gallery, and then I worked with Sharon in designing and executing that gallery. I have to say I have never met anybody who has the vision and then the tenacity to work through the process, which doesn't always move as fast as I would like, but Sharon just keeps on going, and then the attention to detail that this woman has had. I think she is just an incredible asset to the city of Emeryville. I'm proud to have worked with her, and I'm proud to be her friend.
Thank you. Further comments are welcome. All right. Please, absolutely.
I don't have any prepared comments. My name is John Demerit. I'm a member of the 45th Street Artists Cooperative. I live 2 doors down from Sharon. And I just want to say, from someone who has been a neighbor, I've been at the Artists Co-op since 1995. I'm like a teenager there. Someone who has worked with Sharon as a former board member and been on many committees with Sharon. Her dedication to our committee, and in no small part the work that she has done for our community, both within the co-op and for the city of Emeryville, is really hard to measure. And I think Sharon is really very much responsible for our larger sort of place within the community of Emeryville and within the city, with the city here. You know, that's all of Sharon's sort of everyday hard work is what we owe a lot of that to her. So I hope you're watching, Sharon. Hi. Yeah.
Thank you. Any further comments?
Hi, Sharon. My name is Margaret Fisher, and I'm a neighbor of Sharon's also from way back. And I'd like to say that Sharon was responsible for our community engaging with city politics. And that's been extraordinary, to go through the democratic process and work through civics the way we learned, early on in school. So Sharon, thank you for that also, as well as for all the arts.
Thank you.
As people were talking, I'm Amber Evans, the Public Art Coordinator for the City of Emeryville, and I had the pleasure of working with Sharon for many years. I was remembering one of the first times I saw her outside of the small little room downstairs. She was hanging children's art all through the area right out this room. And as she did that, Emeryville came alive for me. I saw all the children's portraits, and they were such a beautiful rainbow. And it was so beautiful to see how that next generation was being represented. And it was pretty amazing to see this woman who everybody has just talked about, all these things she does. She was hand putting them up all by herself with those chairs out there and doing it. And that's the kind of dedication she has always brought. And it has shown Emeryville in the most beautiful way. And that is the story I want told about her, all the stories that everybody has personally been affected by her. So thank you.
Thank you, Amber. Any further comments for Sharon? For a beloved member of our community? Okay. All right. In that case, I'm going to close public comment for item 4.1. And I would ask you to stay, John Bowders, for the next proclamation. Which I am inviting my honorable colleague, Courtney Welsh, to read. This is the proclamation of the City Council of the City of Emeryville recognizing June 2026 as LGBTQ and a Pride Month in the City of Emeryville.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Proclamation of the City Council of the City of Emeryville recognizing June 2026 as Lesbian, Gay, Bisexual, Transgender, Queer, Intersex, and Asexual Pride Month in the City of Emeryville. Whereas in the movement towards equal rights for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, intersex, and asexual people, a historic turning point occurred on June 28, 1969 in New York City with the onset of the Stonewall riots, where protesters stood up and resisted police harassment that arose out of discrimination. And whereas in the decades since, civil rights for LGBTQIA people have grown substantially, and Pride celebrations have taken place around the country every June to commemorate the Stonewall riots. And whereas even with all the progress that has been made, the rights of members of the LGBTQIA community are still under attack as they continue to face discrimination and persistent efforts to undermine their human rights. And whereas during Pride Month, the Emeryville City Council reflects on the progress that has been made towards inclusion and equality for the LGBTQIA community and celebrating the people who are living their lives openly and with pride more than ever, as we also reaffirm the ongoing need for commitment to fostering justice and preventing discrimination based on sexual orientation and gender identity. And whereas from business leaders and professors to athletes and entertainers in all walks of life, LGBTQIA individuals have achieved success and prominence in our society, and we honor the fortitude of those who have fought so that others could live authentically. And whereas our city and the entire nation draw strength from diversity of all kinds, with each individual contributing to the greater whole, and by affirming these rights and values, we all benefit. And whereas the purpose of proclaiming Pride Month is to recognize and educate the community on the impact that lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, intersex, and asexual individuals have had on history, locally, nationally, and internationally. Now, therefore, it be resolved by the City Council of the City of Emeryville that the month of June is hereby proclaimed as Lesbian, Gay, Bisexual, Transgender, Queer, Intersex, and Asexual Pride Month in the City of Emeryville, and the Pride flag will be flown in front of City Hall for the entire month. proclaimed by the mayor of the city council of the city of Emeryville at a regular meeting held Tuesday, June 2nd, 2026.
Thank you. I didn't know I was going to speak for 2 items tonight. First time to a council meeting in 18 months. I just want to thank the city council for continuing a long legacy of inclusivity and creating a space of visibility for people who identify as LGBTQI+. This city was fortunate to be represented by openly queer people for over 2 decades, and I appreciate the allies who are on the council and on the staff in particular here in the city who have supported and fostered a place of inclusion where a formerly unhoused gay youth like myself feels like I belong in a community like this. I also actually want to thank the artist community behind me because the artist community has always been on the forefront of supporting and defending people who are creative, are different, are quirky, are queer. Artists have been very much people who embrace the community I come from, and I know others may in this room come from as well. And I don't wish to speak on behalf of everyone, but I want to just say, hanging the pride flag seems like a political battle for a lot of people. It's actually a symbol to a lot of people who are unsure of themselves and their standing that this is a place that is welcoming. I've always felt welcome in this city. I know others who feel that way as well, and I appreciate you recognizing the intersectionality of queer existence with all the other religious, race, documentation status, and other affinity groups that are part of this community, because we are part of all of those communities too. So thank you for that recognition, and happy Pride to everyone.
Any other public comments on that you don't have to stay for? But you're welcome to stay the whole time. All right. Any comments by this council? All right.
Bye, y'all.
All right, we'll move on now to the council member special announcement and reports on meeting attendance. Council members, any announcements, reports? Okay, seeing none.
Oh, it's my birthday.
Happy birthday to council member Courtney Welsh.
No, please don't.
And next we are going to ask City Manager Bello, do you have a report this evening?
Good evening, Mayor. No report from the city manager this evening.
Thank you. Council members, are there any ex parte communications to disclose?
No, ma'am.
Okay, seeing none, we will take public comment on consent calendar and items not on agenda. Each speaker has 2 minutes. Welcome.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. My name is Stephen Keller. I live at 6C63 Christie Avenue, and I'm here tonight to make a request to be placed on a city council agenda in the near future. I would like to formally share with you and the greater public an idea I've been proposing for more than a decade. The idea is to charge a per space fee on non-residential parking spaces within the city of Emeryville. The proposal's prime objective is to work as a congestion management tool primarily to control the number of single occupant vehicles coming into the city. Though this plan has a positive financial aspect, that is a beneficial outcome. By charging a small daily fee to park in Emeryville, we are encouraging many who drive to Emeryville to look at more environmentally friendly alternatives by reducing the number of single occupant vehicles coming into our city. By doing this, it collectively works towards several positive outcomes. This plan could address several goals in our as specified in our general plan, the Sustainable Transportation Plan, and our climate plan. It can reduce greenhouse gas emissions and other sources of pollution. It can reduce the need for excessive parking and can open existing parking spaces for better uses such as housing, shared parking, unbundled parking, and more public open space. It can reduce traffic, which can then improve the flow of public transit and the delivery of goods. The fact that this plan also has a financial benefit is an added bonus. As proposed, the plan could generate some $15 million directly into our city coffers, money that we control, not under the whim of some state or federal government. The fee alone has the potential to close our budget gap without directly impacting the residents of Emeryville or increasing fees on our local businesses. I have considered this plan in great detail and feel that I can fully address any concerns while adequately explaining the many benefits it can provide. Thank you for your time and for all the work that you do for us and our city.
Thank you for your comment. Any further public comments? Welcome.
Thank you. I'm Fran Quattel, and I went to it was very informative. I went to the Bike Ped meeting yesterday, and I realized that there were aspects of the Sutter project that I was totally uninformed about, never thought about, and would like to be more informed about. And I think that it would be very beneficial to see city meetings involving both Sutter and Emeryville's transportation staff, because we only have a limited number of streets. And the changes that are being proposed are really monumental. They affect every single person, business, child, you know, the fact that kids go to school and they're in the street, and there'll be construction. And I would like to see a coordination and coordinated meetings for the public between Emeryville's transportation staff and the Sutter's staff. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further public comments? Okay. Seeing no further public comment is now closed. Next is the consent agenda, and we have a few items on this agenda. If is there any item anyone wants to pull or move? Okay. In that case, I am inviting a motion on the consent calendar.
Motion to approve the consent calendar.
Second.
Thank you. Motion made by Councilmember Welch, seconded by Councilmember David Mora. Please take vote.
Councilmember Mora.
Aye.
Councilmember Pryforce is absent. Councilmember Welch.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Solomon.
Aye.
And Mayor Carr.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Okay, next we are moving on to action items. Item 11.1 is a resolution amending the City Council Rules of Procedure.
Mayor?
Oh, I'm sorry. I just moved a little bit ahead of myself. We have public hearings as well. So let me. Okay, this is a public hearing, and this is on the annual city vacancies recruitment and retention efforts pursuant to AB 2561. This is an informational public hearing on the annual city vacancies pursuant to AB 2561, but no council action is required, correct? We are just inviting that report, so please proceed with the staff presentation. Lilybell.
Thank you, Mayor. All right, next slide. As way of background, you may recall in 2024, Governor Newsom approved Assembly Bill 2561, requiring that public agencies present annual reports on the status of vacancies and recruitment and retention efforts. The public hearing is to be done before adoption of the budget, and bargaining units are allowed to make a presentation. Next slide. This slide lists the 5 employee groups included in the report. 4 are the bargaining groups of SEIU, CAMP, POA, and PMA. We also have the unrepresented full-time, regular, and benefited positions. Next. This slide shows the total vacancies for the city as 18. So the citywide vacancy rate is 12.6%. The vacancy rates, as you can see, range from 0% to 18.2% at this snapshot point in time. Next. So I'm going to discuss the vacancies and recruitment and retention efforts in more detail by employee group next. Starting with SEIU, SEIU has an 18.2% vacancy rates. Their 12 vacancies are listed here. Next slide. This slide shows status of some of those vacancies. Since we ran the report, we've actually filled and are close to filling some of these various vacancies. We made an offer for a police communications dispatcher that was accepted, offer to a community and economic development director, or coordinator, sorry. Additionally, teacher assistant is in the department hiring interview stage, and the teacher associate recently completed their oral board examinations. So I'm happy to report that these recent filling of vacancies will reduce that vacancy rate for SEIU down to 7.5%. Next slide. CAMP has a vacancy rate of 12.7%. There are 3 vacant positions listed here. We do anticipate filling the recreation supervisor shortly, which will result in CAMP's vacancy rate going down to 8.4%. Next slide. At the time that we ran the report, POA had a vacancy rate of 8.1%. The recruitment is continuous and ongoing. It's important to note, though, that the 3 vacancies do not include the 2 police officer trainees who are enrolled in the police academy, expected to graduate in October 2026. So the true vacancy rate is 13.5%, although they are filling those positions. Additionally, since the report was run, the PD received resignation notices from 3 of its current police officers, which brings the number of vacancies to 6 plus the 2 trainees. Also worth noting is the vacancy report represents filled positions, so it does not account for employees who are filling positions but are on leave. And finally, 5 sworn employees in POA are eligible to retire, which would increase the number of vacant positions to a vacancy rate of potentially 29.7%, assuming the trainees graduate. Next slide. On a happier note, all of the positions in PMA are filled, so we have a 0% vacancy rates. Next. Oh, it is worth noting that there's at least 1 PMA employee who is eligible to retire. Next. Also, for the unrepresented group, all of the positions are filled, so the vacancy rate is also 0%. The city has been really successful in recruiting and retaining this highly sought-out, qualified and experienced group. So next, I'm going to be discussing the city's general recruitment and retention efforts. So for this past year, overall recruitment and retention rates improved. This slide shows the number of hires and terminations for last year. As you can see, the city was able to fill 26 vacancies through new hires and promotions. We had 12 separations for a rate of 8.4% in separations. Next. The HR department continues to meet regularly with all hiring managers to prioritize upcoming recruitments and ensure the city meets its staffing needs. As you can see here, we have seen a huge increase in the number of applications received for several recruitments. The HR department completed over 20 recruitments this past year, and specifically, we're seeing these numbers in SEIU and camp position. This is in part due to the increased activity that we've had on LinkedIn and social media, as well as targeted postings based on positions. Additionally, the city has seen an improvement in offer acceptance. This past year, we had a 92.9% acceptance rate and 100% retention rate. Next slide. So for the sworn POA and PMA, recent survey shows that vacancy rates across comparator agencies are coming in at around 11.2 to 23.2%. They're also expected to rise with resignations and retirements. So as you may know also, the recruitment process for these positions is quite extensive. The city is competing for the same small pool of qualified candidates. As such, HR continues to work with the police department to explore options to further improve recruitment and retention for the POA. Questions?
Any questions, council? Okay, I will now open the public hearing. It is 7:54 p.m. I'm inviting public comment on this item. The public has 2 minutes each.
So Mayor, the police department also has a presentation that they're going to make, and you might want to wait till after that presentation to.
Oh, I see. I thought this was the presentation.
No, that was
All
the
right.
staff presentation.
All right. In that case, do I need to procedurally close that, or I can just invite the EPOA?
It's fine. You can just leave you can leave the public hearing open.
All right. I'm inviting EPOA to make their presentation.
We'd first like to welcome again. Good to be back. But we'd first like to make it clear we don't come to council. This is the first time we've ever come to council to talk about vacancies. We're in a crisis in the police department. If you don't understand how bad it is, this isn't about me, but on my last pay period, I worked 42 hours of overtime, not by choice. So you understand we're a 24-hour functioning police department, 7 days a week. And if minute staffing is not met, we're ordered in, or ordered to stay late, away from our families, away from activities. We appreciate Lil Bell's presentation. That was very fair, what the future holds for the POA and what it holds for the police department. If we don't hire officers, we're going to be in a bigger crisis. It takes a long time to hire an officer. It's not a simple process. And we have a presentation we'd like to present to you to discuss what the future holds and to answer any questions you may have for us.
I'm Warren Williams. I introduced myself earlier, Madam Mayor, council members. Thank you for having us here today. Next slide.
Yeah, no problem.
Our POA board is composed of 4 members. President Lance Goodfellow, myself, I'm the vice president. Lance has been with the department 23 years. I've been with the department approximately 9 years. We've served together on the EPOA board for 10 years. As an only child, he's the brother I never wanted. The secretary of our association is Arnold Salias. He's a watch commander, and he's not able to be here right now. The treasurer is Christian Zavala. He's been here 9 years. Next slide, please. Our membership, which is the officers and sergeants of the Emeryville Police Department, is composed of 7 sergeants and 24 officers. Next slide, please. Our department, by my understanding, is approved to have 30 officers. We currently have 24. I know, I think in Lily Bell's presentation, her numbers were based on a May 6th. We had a recent resignation, so it's gone down to 24. So 24 by 30 that I think we're approved for brings us at 80. When you consider the additional 2 that are leaving, we have 73.3% occupancy rate. Next slide, please. Occupancy or employment rate. So what does being at 73.3% of patrol officer staff capacity mean? Next slide, please. It means we have 3-in-1 working patrol watches. That's jargon in patrol world for 3 officers and 1 sergeant. It means there's going to be increased response times because when something does happen in the city, although we may have more officers per square mile than neighboring cities, it takes more than 1 officer to solve a call for service. It takes several. If you have to take someone to jail, then you only have 2 officers left in the city. This ends up resulting in overworked officers, and then things start to get a little worse. Next slide, please.
And going into that, this isn't a knock on the fire department, but there are 6 firefighters in your city every day. And at times, they're sleeping. It's not a knock on them, like I said. But we have 1 sergeant and 3 officers that are working. We have 6 firefighters in the city.
So, and forgive the nature of this. I worked overtime. You lose track of the days. Sunday, and I put this together Monday on 2 hours of sleep. So it's not the best PowerPoint presentation. But the third bullet on there, in terms of what does it mean when we're at 73.3% of patrol officer staffing, it means the department recently had to cancel grant-sponsored overtime. So listen to that. That's grant-sponsored overtime. When we get to a point where we're so thinly staffed that we can't afford free overtime, because when overtime gets posted on the wall, there's OTS detail, which allows officers to work in a different capacity than patrol. They can go out and specifically do traffic enforcement or alcohol buy enforcement, things like that. It keeps them interested in their chosen trade. But then on the same wall, there's patrol overtime. Patrol officers don't want to come back and work more patrol because that's what they do all week. So if they're going to work on their weekend, they tend to choose something different. Because there was so much overtime on the patrol side and the preferences for that state-sponsored grant, we had to pull that down so that officers would go and serve the residents in the patrol overtime requirements. So it basically we're so thinly staffed that at times we can't afford to work free overtime because we don't have the bodies. In our 10 years on the board, I will say that just as a ray of light, it's not all bad. I think we have the best working relationship with command staff and the city staff members that we work with. LaTanya Lilybell, I think she left already, the chief. We have a new captain that comes to us from a larger department who was very solution-oriented. And we recently promoted 2 lieutenants from our membership who are intimately familiar with the department. So we can find resolutions and solutions collaboratively and cooperatively. But all that said, communication and collaboration doesn't staff a watch. People do. Next slide, please. At current staffing levels, sometimes we're unable to afford the working the free overtime. That's what I just mentioned. And it may negatively impact future grant qualification because I believe, and I don't write these grants, but I've overheard in lineup discussions that if you don't use up what's given to you in a grant, the state views you as not being able to use it all. So next year, we might not be able to qualify for as much grant-sponsored overtime, which to the residents could mean less traffic enforcement. Right now, we have a traffic officer in our traffic section. When I hired on in 2007, there were 3 traffic officers and a traffic sergeant. Now there's 1 officer there. Next slide, please. And it means it's going to get worse because as people work this overtime, they're not being fathers, they're not being mothers, they're not being spouses and partners at home, they're here. Just to put it into a human perspective, this weekend, we have 1 full duty detective in the criminal investigative section. This weekend, that full duty detective worked 12 and a half hours overtime on his Friday, 12 and a half hours overtime on his Saturday. On Sunday, there was a robbery at Bay Street, a drive-by shooting in front of IKEA. He got called in, and then he had to work, I believe it was Sunday night into Monday morning, and then guess what? He has to go back to work Monday morning. How much investigation do you think is humanly possible for a detective who already worked 40 hours last week, probably did 30 hours over the weekend, and now has to start his Monday off fresh? It's not. People are gonna start to realize they can't raise a family here, they can't do things here that maybe they aspire to.
And we're both former detectives. When we were both in the detective unit, there were 4 detectives and a sergeant. We're down to 1 sergeant over the unit and 1 detective. It's a crisis.
The rattling you hear, it's the lug nuts that are coming loose before the wheels fall off. This is, despite the good relations we have with city staff and our command staff, if we can't staff watches, we can't come when the residents and businesses call us. Next slide, please. Recently, I believe it was approximately 12 months ago, I mentioned this prior to your closed door meeting, 1 sergeant left the department for another Bay Area department where he took a position as a police officer. So he accepted a demotion to go to a higher paying department. Next slide, please. 3 officers have entered background investigations or announced their intent to leave the department in the last 6 months. These are all patrol people, not different areas, not specialty people. These are the people that come when residents dial 911. Next slide, please. The common denominator in all 4 of these EPOA members' exit or intent to exit is that they all had a baby or bought a house in the last 18 months. They're starting their lives. And when I see the one that actually left with the demotion was the one that bought a house in Alameda County, the underlying tale to me is that you can't afford to continue working at the Emeryville Police Department and buy a home in county. It's not doable. You just can't do it. Next slide, please. We mentioned the growing family and homes. This is what I call the just because attrition. Our members start families and they need to make ends meet. We can't control or influence it. Next slide, please. The other type of attrition is retirement attrition. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Retirement attrition is different than the just because attrition because it's predictable. You might not know a day that a person's going to go, but you can pretty much predict it. And it can be influenced by retention or lateral officer recruitment. Next slide, please. 50% of our command staff are eligible to retire now. Half of them. Our chief has been in law enforcement for a long time. We love him, but I know he's got an exercisable option in his pocket. I hope he stays as long as possible. And one of our lieutenants is also eligible to retire. Next slide, please. 16% of EPOA members are retirement eligible right now. Next slide, please. In the next 3.5 years, approximately 26% of EPOA members are retirement eligible. This is the wheels falling off situation. We do not attract, I mentioned earlier that as a training manager, I have recruitment, training, and community outreach responsibility. So I'm involved in the last 67 oral board interviews we've had. And I gotta tell you, the lateral candidates that come here, they come here and apply here because no one else will hire them. They're not hireable, the laterals that come here. Next slide, please. Or that apply here, not that come here. One of our retirement eligible members has approximately 33 years of Emeryville Police Department experience. I don't know if he's going to retire Tuesday, but I think it would be reasonable to assume he's going to retire in the less than the next year. Next slide, please. There are 28 positions dedicated to patrol. 7 of the patrol officer positions are currently frozen on the next watch schedule because we don't have the bodies to fill them. What that means from a human perspective is if you want to put in comp requests, because we work holidays on our regularly scheduled workday, if you take that holiday and comp and then you want to take comp time off, you have to be able to get someone to backfill for you. When you're at patrol minimum, sometimes you can't do that, and you can't use your comp time that you've either accrued by not taking your holiday as pay or by working overtime.
And it's important to know, about a year and a half ago, we actually had 28 positions dedicated to patrol. And now we're currently down to 16. That's a huge dip as far as patrol officers responding to the residents and the business of the city of Emeryville. Visitors come to the city for the police department. They come here because of the service we offer. That service will be declined with our staffing limitations.
Next slide, please. So why don't we hire more people? Next slide, please. We've confirmed and/or conducted 67 oral boards since September 2025. The laterals that come and apply, they're not hireable, or they're so competitively sought, they're gone. They'll sit for the oral board, but then they're gone. Next slide, please. This has resulted in 3 recruits sent to the Contra Costa County 206 Academy class in April. That class is 6 months. I know there was an asterisk next to the 2 recruits, but these are not EPOA members. They're not sworn in. They don't pay EPOA dues. They can't go 10-8. They don't patrol. They're not even in the city right now. Next slide, please.
And that one officer in field training may or may not pass the field training program. So if they don't pass the field training program, they're not sworn officer. They're no longer with the EPOA. So it's important when the time you hire someone, they go to the academy and they hit the streets as a field training, going to the field training program. It's about a year process. And if we lose 5 people to retirement and we continue to lose people to leave the department, we'll never catch up by hiring academy people. We need laterals to come here.
There's a good side to police officer trainees because you get to grow your own, but it takes time to grow an officer. And oftentimes there's a culture shock. Of the 3 we hired, one of the recruits quit after 6 days. They just said, yeah, this ain't for me. I guess the RTOs, the recruit training officers, were yelling too loud. I don't know, but 6 days and one was gone. Next slide, please. The lateral police officer supply market basically is supplied by 2 sheriff's offices, Alameda County and Contra Costa County sheriff's offices. Most deputies lateral to BART and higher paying agencies. Not to keep pointing at our chief, but our chief made his bones in Contra Costa County and he went to BART. And then after going to BART, he came here via promotion. Next slide, please. This is a BART recruitment flyer. They're so young and so happy. They have $15,000 hiring bonuses, which I'll say I don't think is necessarily an effective recruiting tool, but they have lifetime medical, which will retain them, and their salary range is $132,000 to $227,348. Next slide, please. San Francisco. Their officer pay scale is from $119,000 to $231,919. This is why we don't attract lateral recruits. Next slide, please. This is Berkeley. This is kind of apples to tangerines because they don't have the annual one up there, but if you take their with incentive pays, you can kind of get a 16,214 times 12. You can get an annualized estimate of what our neighboring city is paying their officers.
And you can also see some of the extra benefits that they have that we do not have to offer.
Next slide, please. This is a meaningful slide. It's not in the stratosphere like a San Francisco or some of the other ones, but Livermore is significant because a lot of the police officers that supply the East Bay labor market drive over the Altamont to come here. Livermore is the first PD of any significant size as soon as you get over the Altamont. That represents quality of life. Although their salary is less than San Francisco, less than Santa Clara, these officers can go home. After the Bay Street robbery and the IKEA drive-by this weekend, one of the day shift officers who finished a 12-and-a-half-hour shift was held over for 4 or 5 hours. So we're talking 16 and a half hours, or however long that day was for him. I know that officer has a 112-mile commute. We don't have sleeping quarters in our department. Our officers sleep in our cars, in the armory. We bring cots. We sleep in vacant offices. We make it happen. We look next door and, well, I know there's bedrooms in the 2 firehouses that are in this city of Emeryville, but there aren't in our police department. We've outgrown the building, and we haven't grown with the city. Next, go ahead.
And we bring these flyers to you because our members have shown us these flyers.
They bring them to us.
They bring them to us. It's unheard of. An officer will receive a 10% increase of pay over the next 2 years, plus $189,000. We'll never compete with them at the pay we currently make. How do we retain people if we can't compete with anything that the other agencies have to offer? And so we give these to you not to, we're trying to tell you how important it is. Yeah, these aren't the 80 corridor that we use for negotiation stuff. These are true agencies that members of our POA are currently looking at to have a true live-life-work balance. We do not have a live-life-work balance currently working in the Emeryville Police Department. And that's why we're here tonight. And there's more we'd like to show you.
Next slide, please. So this one's interesting. This would never come up on our comps schedule if we were to provide you with one. But this one's relevant because this is who we lost our sergeant to. Our sergeant took a demotion to go to Santa Clara, where their starting salary is $163, and it tops out at $208. Next slide, please. And this is ours. We top out where they begin. Next slide, please. This is the City of Emeryville strategic plan that is prominently posted in the lobby of the Emeryville Police Department. I know because I pinned it up myself. There's 4 multi-year goals and objectives, the first of which is livable, safe, and vibrant community. I have a biased opinion. I'm a police officer, and I believe this is properly prioritized, and it says public safety services, housing, long-range, and current planning. The Emeryville police officers and sergeants of the EPOA contribute to the safety of this city every day. And I can't think of a more relevant contributor to the public safety than the police officers and sergeants of our association. Next slide, please.
No, sorry. On the last point, it talks about resilient organization and employer of choice. We're currently not an employer of choice for police officer trainees or laterals. It says employee training and development, recruitment and retention. We cannot retain what we have. It's been proven with those officers that are left freely on their own for other jobs, either inside of law enforcement or outside of law enforcement. We have to do better. We have to retain what we have. If we don't retain those people that could retire, we're in some serious trouble. If 5 people walked out the door today, they'd automatically get a COLA raise in January when they start collecting their retirement.
Of the 3 recruits that were in the academy and 1 police officer that's in training now, it's relevant for you to understand that I stole 3 of those hires from SEIU. They were dispatchers, and I knew they had interest in becoming police officers. 3 of them came over. One of them was an outside recruit that with a good background investigation, we were able to see the potential other agencies did not. So of the four, one of them is brand new to the city. The others I took from another bargaining unit proudly. And I hope they all clear field training and become members of our association. We'd like to have them. Next slide, please. I think that's the end. Oh.
And in closing, I invited you before, I'll invite you again. Please come on our ride-along on a Friday, Saturday night in the city of Emeryville. Go to Bay Street. See what it takes from our staff just to handle Bay Street. Doesn't mean any other calls for service, doesn't mean any DUI crashes, doesn't mean any calls from Target, from Marshalls, Ross, Home Depot, Nordstrom Rack. It goes on that call us because of thefts that are occurring in the city. I ask you to please come along, talk to an officer, talk to a sergeant. Our chief's fully aware how morale is, and it's not morale bad because of command staff. It's morale bad because of staffing, being at work all the time. And after a while, it gets old. I love being a police officer. I love this city. I've been here for a long time. But we have to do something to retain and to hire. And unfortunately, it falls on you guys to make that decision what you're going to do with the contract. We're not here to discuss contract. We're in negotiations. We fully understand that. But I hope you understand that what happens in this contract will determine how this police department continues to either grow or shrink.
In short, we need to retain, train, and hire faster than we retire. Otherwise, it's just not going to be humanly possible to continue staffing. Next slide, please. The current employment package just doesn't compete for lateral officers. So we're asking that you adjust the COLA and post-certification to consider making it competitive to these other agencies that we've highlighted in the previous slides. We appreciate your time this evening.
Appreciate your time. Are there any questions you guys have for us?
They don't.
Any questions, Council?
Just had one question.
Councilmember Mora?
I appreciate all the information you guys have shared. It's helpful. You mentioned this one instance of an officer who took a demotion because he just bought a house, and he's also living in Alameda County.
That's my interpretation.
I was going to ask if we do exit interviews and if that was.
I did not do an exit interview. I follow the breadcrumbs, and I know that he recently had a baby. I know that there was a home purchase, and then I know that he basically went to a higher paying agency thereafter.
Your detective skills. All right, thank you.
Former detectives.
And to answer your question, that to be fair, the chief does have exit interviews. He offers those to every employee who wants to leave. But we're not privy to that information. That's between the chief and the member that when they decide to leave, whether they want to have an exit interview or not. And we're not privy to any of that information that's shared.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. Okay. I'll invite public comment.
Hi, my name is Erica Vasquez. I've lived in Emeryville for my entire life, 44 years. This is my first council meeting, and I'm very impressed that police officers came up and presented for the first time. Thank you. I did not know that this was such an issue. I actually work for the city of Oakland right now. I worked for the Oakland Police Department for 13 years, and I thought that they had it really bad, but apparently we are too. I do appreciate that when I call 911, you guys actually come. So I do appreciate that, and I don't want to see long wait times like the Oakland Police Department has. So I'm hoping that there's some kind of plan to get this resolved. I don't know I know Oakland has very strong recruiting, they have maybe at least one each year. Maybe you guys can work together and kind of piggyback on efforts. and kind of get some names off of their list. So maybe an idea. Just thanks.
Thank you for your comment. Any further public comments? Right. In that case, I will close public comment. I can close the public hearing as well, or, okay, I will close the public hearing. And if there are any questions or discussions by this council at this time, I will open it to that. Okay, seeing and hearing no questions or any discussions by this council, we can conclude this item. I don't believe a motion is required. We are just asked to accept the report, which is accepted. Thank you so much for being here to present your case today. I will move on to the next item, which is the action item. It is the resolution of the City Council of the City of Emeryville amending the City Council Rules of Procedure to conform with the new Brown requirements and inclusion of a policy for disruption of telephonic or internet service during meetings. I'm asking if this council will waive presentation and accept a verbal summary. Looks like we are waiving presentation and accepting a verbal summary.
Great, thank you, Mayor and Council. As you know, this is the item that we discussed in detail on the May 5th study session. So what we're asking you to adopt tonight are just the amendments to the City Council Rules of Procedure. We're including the new Brown Act requirements and adopting a policy for disruption of telephonic or internet service during meetings. The only other change that was included in the amendment to the Council Rules of Procedure is that we deleted all of the references to MESA, the Management of Emeryville Services Authority, as that entity was dissolved in December of 2025. If anyone has any questions, I'm available to answer them.
Council members, do you have any questions of the staff? Seeing and hearing no questions, I'm inviting public comment on this item. Seeing and hearing no public comment on this item, we can go on to discussion of this item. If there is any, I invite council members. Okay, there is no discussion on this item. Is there a motion to adopt the resolution?
I will move approval.
Thank you. Thank you, Vice Mayor. A motion made by Vice Mayor, seconded by Council Member Welch. Please take vote.
Councilmember Mora?
Aye.
Councilmember Pryforce is absent. Councilmember Welch?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Solomon?
Aye.
And Mayor Carr?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Next is the resolution of the City Council of the City of Emeryville amending the budget for fiscal year 2025-2026 and fiscal year 2026-2027. Is there a presentation? Thank you. Sharon?
Good evening, Mayor, council members. Sharon Fredrickson, Finance Director. I have a short presentation. Next slide, please. Again, in terms of purpose, our biennial budget for fiscal year 25 through fiscal year 27 was adopted by Council on June 3rd of 2025. At this point in time, this amendments allows staff the opportunity to adjust the budget for unplanned expenses. It also allows us to adjust revenues where we feel we have a certain level of confidence that the revenues are changing. For the 2-year cycle, we are proposing minor adjustments, primarily in the area of public safety, as well as some operational necessity items and quite a few carryover of funds from one fiscal year to the next related to timing of projects. Again, the department directors, finance director, and city manager were very conscientious of our budget deficit and really focused on adjustments that were critical at this point in time. This item is before council, as we do need council approval to authorize increased spending. This is particularly important for fiscal year 25 and 26 before we close the books in a month on June 30th. And we're also seeking council approval for 2 new positions funded by Measure F. Next slide, please. For the general fund, there's an attachment in the staff report, but some of the highlights for the fiscal year 25 and 26, we are seeing that our sales tax is rebounding, and based on our most recent quarter 4 2025 sales tax projections, we are proposing to increase sales tax. We also have a handful of revenues in the police department that we're adjusting, including reimbursement for post, which you'll notice when we talk about expenditures, we're also increasing the expenditure budget for the post training, but then we also anticipate to receive the reimbursement on the revenue side. We are expecting a decrease in plan fire check fees, but that's largely offset by increased levels of reimbursement to our Public Works Department. Our Community Services Department has been very successful and anticipates additional funding through various state and Prop 49 grants. And so again, overall, we have just some minor adjustments to our revenue, and really the intent is to make sure that our increases in revenue will offset our proposed expenses. Our expenditures include a minor increase in the city manager budget related to the recent contract update, increases in the finance department for professional services. This is largely due to our recovery and discovery work with business license audits. We received more revenue from those audits. In turn, we have to increase the amount to the consultant. We're also addressing various special one-time projects. Community development has a slight reduction in their scope of work for labor standards, and the police department has a handful of adjustments totaling about $140,000 due to increases in evidence testing, the post training, vehicle maintenance and wellness program, and then Community Services has a request for temporary help for youth services to offset some vacant positions. Again, our net revenues of $592,000 will easily cover the new expenses of $368,000. Next budget, please. Again, for fiscal year 26-27, we continue to see our sales tax continuing to increase and are proposing to adjust that budget by $507,000. Again, continuing to expect some reimbursement for our post training. Again, on the downside, we are expecting to see those fire plan check fees to remain at a decreased level than we expected 2 years ago when we put forth the budget. Again, you'll see several of the same expenditures increasing into fiscal year 26 and 27 for the city manager, the finance department, the police department, including the recently approved contract with Berkeley for animal control, some changes in our canine program to purchase and train new canines, as well as you heard extensively, there are vacancies within the department. We do anticipate filling those vacant positions and would need additional funding for testing and uniforms for new hires. And we do have a larger than anticipated increase in the contract with the Alameda County Fire Department. Again, our proposed net revenues are $358,000, which will partially offset the increased expenditures of $799,000 in the 26-27 proposed budget. Next slide, please. Just in terms of snapshot, again, for fiscal year 25-26, we are amending the sales tax and a handful of other taxes. However, we do anticipate that when we close the books on June 30th, our overall revenues will be substantially greater than budgeted. We did have a sale of property that resulted in increased real property transfer tax, which should eclipse over $2 million. This will go toward offsetting our projected deficit. And again, for 26 and 27, just to show you the changes that we are proposing in our revenue, all the other revenues will remain as adopted 2 years ago, knowing that we may revisit these figures in 6 months and see how the trends are performing and whether or not we need to adjust our revenue at that time. Next slide, please. On the expenditure side, even with our proposed amendments, we're projected to be pretty close to our adopted budget. You'll notice in salary and benefits, we're expecting to have incremental amount of savings this year. I think in prior years, we had greater than anticipated savings. However, again, as discussed on our vacancy report, the overtime is largely eclipsing any salary savings. So again, we don't anticipate much savings on that front. We do expect a little bit of incremental savings from our insurance costs coming under. So we should be right on target. Again, with the increased revenue, we expect that our deficit of 9.3 million may be closer to 6 million. But again, we'll know the true extent of our deficit after we complete the fiscal year 25-26 audit, and those dollar amounts are audited and confirmed by our independent financial auditor, which would be in December of 2026. Next slide, please. Other funds, there is a detailed attachment in the report. I won't go through all the changes. Just a note of one in particular importance is in our child care program with the state implementation of the universal transition and kindergarten program. This has resulted in a decrease in our parent market fees. Community Services is able to offset some of the loss by additional revenue and child development and grants, but we are proposing to transfer additional Measure F money into the Emeryville Child Development Center. We also have minor adjustments on the expenditure side for professional services, our e-citation software, the celebration of the arts, permit tracking, shuttle surface and landscape maintenance. We're also making adjustments to the successor agency to align with the approved ROPS. And you'll see that in fiscal year 25-26, there's quite a large amount of funding for capital projects, loans to developers in our brownfield project that because of timing, those unspent funds need to be rebudgeted into the next fiscal year. Our only new expenses include $100,000 for landscape maintenance, and again, the $600,000 carryover for the brownfield project in our EPA grant fund. Next slide, please. Measure F, as this council is aware, was approved by the voters in 2020 to increase our transaction and use tax by 0.25%. The allowed uses for our Emeryville Municipal Code is for additional positions for firefighters, police officer, public safety support positions, code enforcement and engineering, as well as funding for the Emeryville Child Development Center. In addition, council has an adopted expenditure and reserve policy that has prioritized the funding for the code enforcement and engineer positions, as well as the operating costs for the Child Development Center. And that policy also puts in place a reserve of $4 million to support ECDC. Next slide, please. However, for Measure F, as mentioned previously in the discussion about other funds, we are proposing to increase our transfer to the child care programs by $200,000. The good news is that, similar to our Bradley Burn sales tax, our Measure F Local sales tax is also trending upward by 148,000. It will largely offset that transfer to the child care program. However, this is a area we'll have to be mindful and continue to watch and work with community services on whether or not additional transfers will be needed in fiscal year 26 and 27. Again, with our increased sales tax and with a sufficient fund balance in Measure F, we are proposing 2 new positions for fiscal year 26-27. A police evidence technician, which would improve the efficiency and evidence processing. It would promote cross training within the department. We're also proposing a communications section supervisor in dispatch. This would improve the span of control. I believe the current manager has 12 positions to supervise. It would enhance 911 response and allow a path for a growth opportunity for dispatchers as well. These positions were recommended in the police department organizational assessment that this council had a study session on. They were critical to fill in 26-27 from an operational perspective, and they do not increase costs to the general fund. Next slide, please. Again, to recap, we are proposing modest increases in the general fund in light of our projected deficit. We are recommending 2 new public safety positions, which does have a dedicated and stable funding source of Measure F. All other adjustments to the revenue were outlined, and all the other revenues would stay as adopted by council 2 years ago. These adjustments were presented and supported by the Budget Advisory Committee and the Budget and Governance Committee. Again, we're recommending council approval of the proposed adjustments for both fiscal years, including the Measure F positions. And our next plan would be to come back to this council in December of 2026 or January 2027 with the mid-year report regarding of how we're performing economically for fiscal year 26 and 27. That concludes my presentation. I am available to take any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you, Sharon, for the presentation. Council, are there any questions for Sharon? Okay. Any public comment on this item? Seeing and hearing no public comment, no questions, any discussions on this item, Council? Do you have anything to state, Councilmember Welch? All right, I will invite a motion on this item. Is there a resolution? Is there a motion to pass the resolution?
Move
So
for
moved.
approval. Oh, I will second. Thank you, Councilmember Moore.
Thank
Move to adopt the adjusted budget.
Thank you, Councilmember Mora. A motion made by Councilmember Mora, seconded by Councilmember Welch. Please take a vote.
Councilmember Mora.
Aye.
Councilmember Pryforce is absent. Councilmember Welch.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Solomon.
Aye.
And Mayor Carr.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Next, we have department head reports. Any announcement of committee vacancies?
I don't have a report this evening, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Next is future agenda item requests. Council members, are there any requests to place any items on the future agenda? Vice Mayor?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I would like to make a request to put perhaps on for budget and governance the item that a member of the public spoke about earlier tonight, the fee on parking spaces, commercial parking spaces in the city. I've chatted with staff a little bit about it and would be curious for Budget and Governance Committee's perspective. So would like to make a request for that to be a future agenda item on that committee's agenda.
You've already spoken with the staff about it?
Yes.
All right. In that case, is there any support for this item? Okay. All right. We have unanimous support to place this item on the agenda of the Budget and Governance Committee. Next is adjournment, and it is 8:52 p.m. We are now adjourned.
Recording stopped.